Hi, everybody. This is the Baseball Head, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the people's champion, your host, the Hut, and this is the first episode of Three Blind Mice, or as we will call them, obviously, the Three Stooges. Now, if you don't know, the Three Stooges obviously are Hal, Brian, and Aaron, and we're going to talk about the Yankees in this video. The Yankees in particular, Brian Cashman had a meltdown, and we found out the elixir to winning the World Series for the Yankees, and we're going to get into that at the end of this video. But first up, from CBSSports.com, quote, headline, I'm all right. Yankees GM Brian Cashman says team is not analytically driven, paints small analytics staff as positive. Quote, to be said we're guided by analytics as a driver is a lie. After missing the playoffs for the first time since 2016 and putting up their worst regular season winning percentage since 92, and they were only 2 games over 500, the Yankees are answering many questions these days. That's especially the case since the relative depths of 2023 didn't lead to meaningful changes in the front office or the dugout. No doubt, longtime GM Brian, he's been there a long time. I know one thing, George would have gotten rid of him. Brian Cashman is acutely aware of all the criticism directed at every corner of the organization these days, and the frustration may have shown a bit during a scrum with reporters at the ongoing GM meetings in Arizona. At issue was whether the Yankees as an organization are too analytically oriented. Here are Cashman at times pointed remarks on that subject. Okay. To push against the idea, real imagine that the Yankees are too invested in analytics, Cashman stated, I'll have a whole bunch of stuff in this here. The Yankees had the smallest analytics department among the 5 teams of the American League East, and they finished in 4th. The Yankees had the largest pro scouting department among those same 5 teams. They finished in 4th. The recurrent use of the word bullshit suggests this is very much a sore and tired subject for Brian Cashman, which explains why he's, in essence, holding up the modest size of the Yankees analytics department as a good thing. The obvious rejoinder is that, given the Yankees' vast resources, they should not have the smallest department of any kind among the divisional peers. The reality, of course, is that in 23, all teams operate under some blend of analytics and traditional scouting. Some tilt more toward one side or the other, but both entirely compatible schools of thought inform every player personnel decision that every team makes these days. Cashman, though, would like everyone to know which way the Yankees lean. Now, they're going to continue on with this. But Hal Steinbrenner, who's the owner of the Yankees, he had a very interesting thing to say, which I'll paraphrase in this video. From the Bleacher Report, Yankees Brian Cashman fires back at critics. I think we're pretty fucking good. He was cursing, boys and girls. He was cursing up a blue streak. The New York Yankees GM Brian Cashman launched a spirited defense of those who work within the organization, saying his group is pretty effing good right now. The Yankees just struggled to finish above 500 and missed the playoffs by 7 games, so naturally the team's process and personnel have been questioned. He's lost it, boy. I can't believe how much he's lost it. Brian Cashman says he gets a kick out of people calling the Joey Gallo and Sonny Gray trades bad. Since Joey Gallo left us, who's picked him up? 2 playoff teams. Sonny Gray, he's currently in the competition for the Cy Young Award. Cashman also took umbrage with the notion that analytics drives the Yankees organization and process. What's the problem? Why is he what's such a sore spot? Despite ranking at or near the top of the league's yearly payrolls on a consistent basis, the Yankees' 2009 World Series championship marks the only time the team has been to the Fall Classic over the past 22 seasons. Now, I would mention, from 2010 to 2020, the Yankees did not go to the World Series. That is the first time they did not go within a decade. But an actual decade, not been to the World Series since 1920. 1920, they went to the World Series. Prior to that, they didn't go. So it's been almost 100 years. Now we're going to get into some quotes. This is from Yankees Go Yard. Headline, Brian Cashman goes off the rails and not safe for work Yankees presser at the GM meetings. And then I'm not going to keep that. If you are underwhelmed by the vague PG version of Tuesday's end-of-season Yankee presser of Hal Steinbrenner, let's get you over to the NC-17 screening featuring a semi-unhinged Brian Cashman. A little bit of something for everybody. The general manager's meetings are currently taking place in Scottsdale, Arizona, where Cashman clearly has a lot on his plate. There are so many discussions to be had with rival executives. Roster moves are being considered. Trade talks pop up. The media is present, you name it. A lot of running around, a lot of socializing, which can get the best of us from time to time. Well, that time is now for Cashman, who was tasked with holding an exclusive presser after Steinbrenner spoke to reporters via Zoom early in the day and had the luxury of slamming his laptop shut at the end and saying, F that shit, God damn it. Boy, oh boy, they're completely off the rails. This is funny. This is about as funny as I've seen this. You don't see the Yankees who all buttoned up. He's all buttoned up, stiff. They don't say anything. Cashman, unfortunately, was in public, nestled in the throng, with nowhere to go. He was getting ready to talk at 5 p.m. All the appropriate media members would be there and would be surrounded and forced to answer whatever was hurled at him. In his defense, he was the most candid Yankees fans have perhaps ever heard him be on Tuesday. But he was very much defensive, a bit irritated, and a smidge crazed. We cannot blame the man, but that's what we can deduce from this. Okay. He said this. Brian Cashman pushes back on the notion that the Yankees are an analytically driven organization. No one is doing their deep dives. They're just throwing bullshit and accusing us of being run analytically. To be said we're guided by analytics as a driver is a lie. Boy, oh boy. Cashman explaining what life is in relation to baseball decisions was also rather unhelpful. Sometimes things work, sometimes they don't. Sometimes we do better, sometimes we do worse. I think we're pretty effing good, personally, and I'm proud of our people. And that brings us to the unsettling topic, Cashman's trade history. And boy, did he feel the need to defend every single thing he's ever done, but with little reasoning behind it. He said the Yankees are victimized by trades that blow up in their face, and specifically referenced the Frankie Montas deal, claiming the right-hander broke after New York received clean medical reports before the trade became official. But then why would Montas come out and say he was 100% healthy when the Yankees acquired him? Cashman also said he gets a kick out of people who criticize the Joey Gallo and Sonny Gray trades. And guess what? We would agree with him in any other instances, but Gallo turned out to play the literal worst 140-game stretch in franchise history, and Gray didn't get the coaching staff support he needed while he was here. That means somewhere there's a breakdown in the organization causing some of these transactions to fall by the wayside. And when that happens, the guy in charge gets blamed. Sorry. Brian Cashman says he gets a kick out of people calling the Joey Gallo and Sonny Gray trades bad. Since Joey Gallo left us, who's picked him up? 2 playoff teams. Sonny Gray is currently in the contention for a Cy Young Award. Who's picked up Gallo? 2 playoff teams that ended up not using him in the postseason when the time came. Who picked up Gray? 2 worse teams that figured out how to better utilize his pitch mix and bring it back to the forefront of the Cy Young discussion. The Yankees reached an inflection point in 23. Fans secretly knew deep down, this is not a secret, deep down it probably wasn't going to result in a mindset shift or a greater understanding of why everybody outside the organization has countless questions and is expressing endless frustration. Now, I would mention, Hal Steinbrenner came out and he said the biggest thing that's going to be different in 2024 is a lot of bunting. They're going to be bunting a lot more. Hopefully that'll get them a couple more wins. That'll win that championship. I know one thing. When you do a lot of bunting, that puts you one step closer to not only a World Series championship, but also the Hall of Fame. You get enough guys that are going to learn how to bunt properly. Put the ball out like this, and hopefully, I've never bunted before. I'm doing the best I can. But if I knew how to bunt, I could teach these Yankees how to win again and learn how to bunt. That's how important that is. I'll mention that. God bless Hal Steinbrenner. He learned a lot from his father. God bless George Steinbrenner. He's rolling over in his grave talking about bunting. I know one thing. Reggie was a great bunter. He had 3 great bunts in Game 6 of the 1977 World Series. Won his second MVP. Never forget that. Well, you let me know what you think about this video. And this is the first episode of 3 Blind Mice.